Through the help of some cool gear, I've been able to capture some incredible slow motion footage of airgun bullets and pellets from the muzzle all the way to the target. A few years ago, I had the idea of painting the back of them to enhance the ability to track that bullet or pellet even better. So in the beginning, I was experimenting with different colors, as sometimes it would show up and sometimes it would not, like in this shot right here. In the early days, you can see how the white paint just kind of shows up here right at the last second. There were times that it worked great, just like this one. It just wasn't consistent enough for me. So over the years, both the gear and my editing skills got better. And today's video is a look at some of the best tracers I've ever captured on film. So now with a little snap of the fingers, let's fast forward a few years and see what the progression in the gear has made possible to capture on film. We're gonna work our way through some tons of shots and then get to some incredible 4K double taps like this. But to be honest, while the new gear and high-end optics I've been using just provide some insane quality, looking back, some of these early days of filming and figuring out the tracers were some of my favorite. EDgun Leshiy presents 762 Tracers. Today's video is made possible in part by this great group of Patreons. If you haven't noticed, I'm moving towards making this channel a more full-time part of my life. The support will help the channel grow beyond my yard and do these amazing giveaways like we just started with different sponsors and a ton more. To really make this transition though and keep the content how we want it, support from folks like you is absolutely critical. So thanks to those who have already joined for being part of that initial crew. I've added some fun ways to join the party for individuals and some smaller companies. So if you're interested, I'll drop a link in the description for my Patreon. Now, let's send a few airgun tracers. The idea of an airgun created this little block out of a 4x4 to hold the pellets, and then I individually painted them. This was a giant pain, but based on the initial success, totally worth it in my mind. My buddies, though, over at 68 Whiskey and Airgun Evolution started to paint pellets as well, and then they created this 3D printed system to do 121 of them basically at the same time. So in addition to doing so many at once, you also get to use spray paint, which opens the door to a ton of different bright colors. These guys don't have a website because they're insane. Just kidding, guys. But I'll drop their email in the description if you want to grab one. So, the modern day airgun tracer was born, and with thousands of shots on film, I grabbed just a few that illustrated how effective this method is for enhancing the ability to track a shot from the muzzle all the way to the target. Man, I love that thud. And with that in mind, here's a compilation of some of the best tracers I've ever caught on film, starting with this guy, which I just shot the other day. And I shot his buddy, too. Sorry for that switch to black and white. That's the only way I can show a crazy stink dump shot like that on YouTube. At first, I wasn't sure how tracers would work on longer shots like this one. Here, you can still see the pellet track as it drops from about 100 yards into the dome of this pigeon, but it's still kind of hard to see. So I brought some with me to the farm, and I immediately saw that they had a place for long distance shooting as well after shooting these 100-yard groups where I was just testing some airgun bullets. And as you can see, the paint made it so much easier to see how well these were flying. Now let's transition to some nighttime shots. Under night vision, I found that white paint works the best. Now you don't have to paint them, but I do find a difference because I think the IR light picks it up and it creates this tracer effect as the projectile flies towards the target, which in this case was a muskrat from about 145 yards with a 50 grain pellet out of the short-barreled EDgun Leshiy 2. It works at short range too, like this rat in my neighbor's yard. Did you hear how loud that impact was? That was a 40 grain bullet going about 900 feet per second. Not exactly urban stealth on that one. With thermal, you can actually get tracers as well, and this is where I would recommend using painted pellets again. And I know that might sound weird initially, but the reason is that the paint actually heats up more so than the lead from the energy of the bullet going down the barrel. That extra heat shows up in a similar way as it makes its way to the target. Looks like just a little dot. For watching today's video. Make sure to check out the fun new ways to support the channel over on Patreon. See you guys next week.